Welcome to the Book Carriers, your favorite book club podcast.
I'm Cassandra, the hopeless romantic book carrier.
I'm Angela, the logical book carrier.
And I'm Becca, the sentimental book carrier.
We are three 30-something best friends and busy moms who live vicariously through the stories we read.
So grab your cup of coffee, get comfy, and let's get lost in a great book together.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to
the
next episode of the Book Carriers. We are finishing up the fourth wing tonight. So I'm, of course, Becca, and then we've still got Angela and Cassandra on with us. Hi, guys.
Hello. Happy to be here. Excited to be here. Let's get into it. But before we get into it,
yes,
go for it, Becca. What are we talking about?
Yeah, well, we got so many questions from so many listeners. It's a joke because we have no questions, but of who the book carriers are, why did we choose that name, and what does it mean to us?
It's definitely a core memory. I still think back. It's like one of the core memories of high school, because it was also like passing period. It was super crowded. Like we were going up to like the second floor, and literally like he kind of parts the way for us. And it's like,
yes.
Out of the way, like book carriers coming through. And I just remember us like looking at each other and like laughing and chuckling.
Yeah, we kind of
chuckling
asked each other, wait, what did he say? Did he just say what I think he said?
Yes. Yeah, we were shocked, but he was doing it to be nice. He wasn't trying to make fun of us. And I think that's a key element. It's like we were not bullied, He was really trying to help us out and get people out of our way. And so, we knew that we were, nerdy in a way, or we were fine with that. Like we had each other. We were having fun. We loved what we did. And so it was like, okay, like it didn't hurt us if he was trying to hurt our feelings. And I think that's a lesson. Like just be confident in who you are, and then nobody can really hurt you.
I think you just said it. It's like we were in it kind of together. Like all three of us were like carrying our books. Like in the exact same way, like our arms crossed over our books. And like I think because of that, it wasn't like one single person was being called a book carrier. It's like all of us, like we're all in this together, and here we are today. The book
exactly. Yes, still carrying our books so proudly. So.
Yeah. Yes, let's get into it. So this is part 2 of the fourth wing. We're going to cover the second half of the book, which is chapters. Oh my gosh, we just talked about this. Chapters 21 through the end of the book.
Yes. But yeah, I say let's just jump into the questions. What was the first question? Who was your favorite character?
Tell us about your impressions of the new characters. So who did we meet that was new?
Right away, we met Liam.
You said that with so much like tenderness.
See, I'm already blushing. Like I just like Liam is. Okay, I know last episode, if you remember, Taryn was like my main guy. Well, a couple pages later, here comes Liam, and he can do no wrong in my eyes. He is the perfect human. So.
Yeah, and like you said, like he can't do any wrong, and he literally didn't do anything wrong. Like he was literally perfect from beginning to end.
He's perfect. He is perfect. He is perfect.
So, Cassandra, but tell us, like, what made him so perfect in your eyes? Why has he got you blushing?
Okay, so first of all, you see him like when you first really kind of get to know him. They're down in the library or whatever you call it, and he's turning on the Riz he signs to her friend. That right there, I was like, oh my gosh, weird way to propose, but okay, I'm down for it. Literally, he's just charm to every person. With Violet, it took him a long time. It took her a long time to trust him, but I think she really did trust him by the end of the book. Yeah, can somebody else talk right now? I need some time before I talk like too much, Liam. I need a break.
Oh no, it's gonna be like a Liam podcast. I feel like that's like he pretty much is in every answer that I have to like all these questions.
Oh, okay. So then, yeah,
he's wonderful. Liam like has my heart. He was too good to be true, which we found out, he just, there's no place for a character who does no wrong. Like, something's got to happen. So, but his ending shocked me, but at the same time, it didn't, because I feel like as a writer, it's like, you got to give some sort of heart punch, and man, she really wrote him in a way that nobody could argue or would say that didn't make you like want to shed a tear, if not sob.
There's so many nuances to his character that I just I'm like, how can he be so perfect, and how can I like him so much? What is it about him? I don't understand. And the main thing, like one of the things I noticed was that he talked about his parents and the way that his parents died. And Angela, you remember we had that big talk about how like they weren't forced to watch their parents die. And I can't remember exactly which parent. Do you guys remember where he said that they killed his mom or his dad in front of him? He's like, yeah, I watched that too. And I was another big part of his story is his sister. Do y'all remember that, where he was like, she's gonna be here next year,
please watch over her?
Yeah. Even before the end of the book, right, he's talking about her and how he's excited that she's going to come back. And it's like, in my mind, where at the beginning of the story, and who was our friend that ran off the parapet, like slipped off? Who was our friend?
Dylan.
Was it Dylan?
Yeah.
Dylan. I'm sorry, I hate to bring him up like all the time, but with him, I was like, yeah, I expected it. Little key clues and hints here. I expected his death, but I get, so Liam is just, I don't know.
But I want to say two things. Like, one is like exactly what you mentioned, Cassandra, what we talked about last time of like how the traitors were forced to watch their parents get executed. And so I think like the second half like solidified even my first point that I had in the first book of like the whole Xaden and Violet happened a little bit too fast, because like everybody around them absolutely hates like the children of the rebellion. Like whenever they went to different places, it's like everybody was looking down on them, was looking at them like with disgust. It's like the hate is so palpable. And so it just solidified my first point in part one of like, it happened too fast. Like there should have been more hate between them. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, definitely like for Violet's side too, because I feel like Violet never really went there. She did a little bit in the beginning. She said, something about like when she first meets Xaden and they're kind of having their first little spar of words. And she says some things that I remember reading at that point thinking like, okay, she's really going to hate this guy. But then she never really did. Like she more just feared that he was going to kill her, but she never actually hated him.
Yeah. And in the second half, we see like all these other people, like the scribes, and they went to that one huge party. And like everybody was looking down on Liam, and like, because you can see like little bits of his relic. But even like in the midst of all that hate that Liam was receiving, like he handled it so beautifully and like elegant at that party. And it's like, yeah, like he can't do any wrong. Like he's perfect. He's so composed, so sure and confident in himself and like his story and his family.
Yeah.
See, yeah, and Violet also gets mad at all the people that are judging him and stuff, and she gets mad for him, and he's like, there's no point. Like it is what it is.
He can do no wrong. I will say that when he started flirting with Jacinia, like at the beginning, and then Jacinia does play like, I'm like, okay, they're introducing her for a reason, right? Like they're giving her a name. There's a little bit of a backstory. Now she has this connection with Liam. Like she's going to have some part of something. She's going to be relevant, right? When they kill him off, I was just so like, well, then what about Jacinia? But then I remembered. So did y'all notice that at the beginning of the book, like the first page, it says, the following text has been faithfully transcribed from Navarian into the modern language by Jacinia Neilwart. So Jacinia is the one who this book supposedly is like a documentation from Jacinia. So I don't know if she's going to have more to do in the future books or if that's why she's mentioned now and she's going to be important. I don't know how yet, or if it's just because she's the scribe writing this in history, but I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels very purposeful and like very intentional, like to develop her character the way that it was.
Yeah. But I was really hoping that she would be more relevant because she would start to have something with Liam, and we'd have a little like side romance story. Because that's the other thing is like I feel like in this book there are no other like the side characters and supporting characters have flings and little things here and there, but there's really no like supporting second love story going on, which I think that they could have if they wanted to.
Yeah, that would have been a good second romance to have, but unfortunately it's not going to happen.
Unless they bring him back from the dead. I don't know how.
Y'all, when I tell you I cried, like not just a tear, it was sobbing. Like I had, I haven't cried like that for a death in a long time. It was very, very heartbreaking, and just like, because I know we talked about Amber and her death where the dragon kind of stepped in and tried to kind of intervene and stuff, but then now we have Liam who, he just wants to get to his dragon. He just wants to be there, and it just there was just so many layers. That's what I'm saying. It's hard to talk about because even from that to Xaden coming in and stepping in to help him for everything that he's done for him, and vice versa, right? That Liam has done for Xaden and that Xaden has done for Liam. Like it's so intricate. And
yeah, I think he's such a complex character in so many different ways, and he's so like entrenched in the storyline, and for him to die and to be killed off from the storyline was honestly shocking and heartbreaking. And especially because that scene where he almost died with Jack stabbing him on the side and like he almost died. I was like, okay, so he escaped death, like he's good, like we're gonna keep Liam around forever. But no, just kidding, ha ha ha. Rebecca is funny and was like, nope, just kidding, we're not gonna keep him around.
Yeah, I had a feeling just with like the beginning and like the saying, like a rider without their dragon is dead. And I was like, okay, well that's got to have some sort of, she didn't make up that rule for nothing. Like a dragon's going to die and it's going to kill somebody. I just was never expecting it to be Liam. Like I just wasn't like
No, I was like, when we talk about like hopeless romantic, that being my thing, I was even to the very end, I was like, this can't be real. This can't be real. They're going to be able to fix this. Even, okay, I know she said a rider without their dragon is dead, but that doesn't matter. Like this doesn't apply to Liam. It can't apply to Liam. He's different. He overcomes all odds.
Right.
Even the king can hate him to his face and he won't be affected by that. Liam is gonna be okay.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Yeah. And so it was hard for me to accept, and I think that's why I just like sat there and cried for like a good minute, and I had to like be like, okay, oh, let's keep going because this is intense.
I think you mentioned this, Cassandra. It's like he's such a die-hard loyalist to Xaden because of, we heard their story, like they were fostered together, so they've been through it together. So I think just like his die-hard loyalty to Xaden and like it and how it showed up in protecting Violet, I think was so precious and so beautiful. And on TikTok and everything, they talk about like golden retriever energy, and that's who he reminded me of. He's just like super loyal. He's always there. He's always around. Even whenever when Violet went missing for him, like she was in, I think at one point in Ryanon's dorm or room, and he's like in there. He went to like knock on their room and it's like, is Violet here? Is Violet here? Is Violet here? Like he's just so on point and he takes his job so seriously. But also what I admired about him, even though he's such a diehard loyalist, whenever Violet asked him to keep the secret of her sparring with Jack, and he kept the secret, which was huge. And so it's such a testament to like the friendship and maybe also the loyalty he was forming with Violet as well. But she was also so understanding of like, okay, go, you can go tell Xaden now, it's fine. And he like rushes off. Yeah, he like rushes off. I'm like, oh, he's so cute, but he's perfect and like no negative characteristics about him whatsoever.
Yeah,
right. And even when he was telling Violet, hey, I was being honest with you, like I really genuinely care about you. it's not just because, you know, it's my responsibility to Xaden. Like, I do care about you. Good job, Rebecca Yarros. You know, for me to have all of those emotions in such a short amount of time. Like, Liam, if you count the pages that he was in the book, not, you know, it's like, what, half the book maybe, and he's not even in it the whole time. And for me to feel that emotionally attached and that upset when he's gone, that, you know, all I have to say is like, congrats, she did an amazing job.
He was just wonderful. And what are his last words? He's like, it's been my honor or something. And it's like Cassandra.
No, I don't want to relive this.
No, but it's like just the way that they wrote it. It was just, I mean, that was who he was up until his very last breath. His very last statement was still, it was my honor. I just can't. I'll never forgive her for killing him,
right? I did want to point out that because one of my questions last time when we were talking was because you know how she wrote her husband. I wanted to know, like, who in the book could he most be like? And I think there's a little answer to that at the very, very end of the book. She says, lastly, because this is her words to her husband, lastly, because you're my beginning and end. Thank you again to my Jason. There's a little bit of you in every hero I write. And when I read that, I immediately was like, Liam, it may or may not be, you know, her Jason or whatever, but there's a little bit of her husband in every character she writes, every hero character she writes. And to me, Liam was a hero.
Oh yeah, he was a hero through and through. So I'm sure he was heavily influenced by her husband, which is what like a testament to her husband, you know. That's beautiful.
To their relationship. Yeah.
And
Becca, I think you mentioned this earlier about how when a character is like so good and so perfect, like it's almost too good to be true, and then they end up being killed off. And like that's happened in like a couple other series that I've read, and I'm like, oh my gosh, the trust issues that I have developed with these authors. I'm like, I can't get emotionally attached to these perfect characters because most likely 9 times out of 10 they're gonna die. And so,
if they're too good and they don't have like a redeeming story arc, like if all that they have to go is down, they're gonna go all the way down. Like down, dead.
No.
I mean, it's true.
Yeah. So it's definitely developed trust issues with characters. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, this character's too perfect. What are you planning to do with this? This level exactly.
Of but you would think after all the years that we have and all of the books that we have read, we would have learned our lesson. But here we are, Cassandra's sobbing so hard she can't breathe. You know, we won't learn our lesson, and that's why authors keep doing it.
I was almost like, she wouldn't do it. She wouldn't do it. She just wouldn't do it.
She killed Dylan on the first like 3 pages. Okay.
And he was such a sweetheart. Like he was so perfect.
I was digging Dylan, and then
you were digging Dylan. You know what?
You know, off he goes. And so, you know, it makes sense. It tracks.
All props to Dylan. He was a sweetheart. And he's got nothing on Liam, but no, you're right.
How would we know? We didn't even experience him long enough. I cannot believe we're talking about Dylan again. Like the least prominent character in the entire book, and we've collectively between the 2 podcast episodes, I spent way too long talking about this guy. Okay. Next question, please.
Yes, we have.
What's the part that made you want to throw the book across the room?
When I told my sister to read this book, I said the ending made me throw my Kindle across the room. Liam dying was a major point where I was like, you've got to be kidding me. And I cried and whatever. But Brennan showing back up shocked me, and it shouldn't have. But when he showed back up, I literally like threw my Kindle like across my bed. And I was like, you were kidding me. And like now it's a cliffhanger. Like I feel like it was the perfect way to end the book.
Oh, absolutely. I'm telling you, heart beating fast, chills, because no, I did not expect that to happen. I had no clue he was coming back, and no inkling, no nothing. He completely was gone in my mind. And so that was such a good twist. I don't know. I'm interested now to hear y'all's thoughts about this, but Is that what you were referring to, Becca, last episode, where you were saying there's probably a reason why Xaden maybe automatically kind of feels a certain way towards Violet?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This changes everything.
Xaden and Brennan know each other. Brennan knows he's going to be at school with her. And who knows, like, how long Xaden and Brennan have been working together, conspiring together, all of that. So I'm like, Xaden should hate Violet for whatever reason, but he has this whole relationship with her brother and probably knows more about her than she knew that he knew about her, you know. And I think that is why maybe there wasn't, from Xaden's side, Violet should have had a more hatred towards Xaden just based on how she grew up.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't even put those two and two together, but it makes perfect sense. He would never ever try to kill her because of that relationship with him.
Exactly. And it also, I feel like, solidifies that the mom is evil. The mom is the enemy. I feel like Brennan faked his death to, like, why would he do that from his own family if his family wasn't the enemy?
Right. That was my question. I was like, is it because she's evil, or is it because maybe she is also in on it too? She's worried about what they would do to her son with the gift that he has. Yes. Do we think she's protecting him, or do we think she's kind of wanted him dead too?
Oh my gosh.
You know, because I don't know what to think.
I think she's evil.
I mean, genuinely, I think she's so evil, and I hated her, and that's why I was like, maybe this would be a redeeming quality for her if she was like just trying to put on a front for the king.
Yeah, no, I think that Mira is going to have some sort of decision at some point in the next book. I think she's going to come face to face with seeing Violet and Brennan on this side, and she's going to have this battle of, do I go with my family, or do I still fight on the side that I'm ingrained to fight for? Because she's such like a warrior and hero and war hero. Like, what is she supposed to do? You know, does she stay loyal and go against them, or does she join them? And I think that Mira is inherently good, but I think that that's going to be her battle that she's going to face. But I think the mom is just purely evil. You cannot convince me that she walked across that stupid thing in the storm and her mother's power is storms. Like, you cannot convince me that that's not related. She tried to kill her from the beginning. She tried to get her out of the way from the beginning. And I think that there's a reason. And I think either she knows Brennan is still alive, and I don't know, doesn't want Violet involved in that, and she just tried to get rid of her. She didn't want her to be a scribe for some reason. Like, there is some depth to that. I don't know what it is yet, but the mom is evil. I know that for, like, I'll take that to my grave.
Okay.
Like, yeah. I don't know. I don't know if the mom is evil. I think her having one of those daggers that is used to kill the Venom. Am I saying that right? Obviously, she has all this intel and she knows about all these attacks that are not being reported to, like, the rest of the riders. And so it just brings up way more questions. Like, why are they trying to hide this? What's the point? What's the goal of this? Like, where? I don't even know. Like, where? How do people stand with all this?
Yeah. It's such a complicated and it's got a complex layers. There's so many. It's like, hey, here's the rebellion. Here's the cause. Which side are you on right now? Because there's so many elements. Even the secret. Because we're talking about the hatred that Violet has towards, or the lack thereof, right? The lack of hatred she had towards Xaden is a big contrast to the hatred she started to portray when she found out that Xaden was hiding the secret of everything for her.
Yeah. I was like, where was that hatred at the beginning?
Yeah. Man, she was so betrayed. And then, even she's like, Liam, you knew about this too, and you betrayed me. Oh my gosh, she was so mad at Xaden for, like, lying to her, but it was like omission.
But I feel like that part showed, like, a sliver of her loyalty to the elements that she grew up in, growing up and having that loyalty to, the
king, I guess.
The king, yeah. And, she was like, you're helping the enemy. So to me, it was like, that was something that I wish she had sprinkled throughout, because it felt jarring to me, because I was like, well, you didn't care when you saw them all meeting in more than a group of 3. You didn't care that you were like falling in love with the, leader of the pack, and all of a sudden she finds out that he's like helping a rebellion or whatever, and like then all of a sudden she's like, you're betraying our kingdom. It's like,
well, I experienced it with her also, though. Of like, oh my gosh, like Xaden has been lying to her this whole time. Xaden is a piece of crap, and he's betrayed her and like just wanted to get in her pants. And then like, just kidding, I've been lying to you this whole time. I think what made it the heaviest, though, was when her dragons knew about it. When Taryn and Darnette, when they knew about it, she was so heartbroken. Like, even my own dragons knew about this and kept this from me. Like, that was it's devastating for her.
Yeah. So I guess, like, did it really talk about why they wanted to keep it such a secret from her for so long? I mean, I guess I know they intended to tell her at some point. Xaden said in the book, he said, this isn't how I wanted to tell you. Well, okay, when were you planning to bring it up? That your brother is alive. Okay, now that she wasn't mad about that to begin with. That was like a reveal at the very end. But come on. She thought the entire time that he was tied to her brother's death. And I mean, that I'm so interested to see how that plays out, because that to me is even more of a big betrayal than the whole working with the revolution, the rebellion.
Yeah.
That her brother's been alive this whole time. That's why I feel like there has to be
see her being like, I'm never talking to you again type situation. There's going to be a lot of like, if y'all had just come together and had a conversation, this book would have ended 70 chapters ago. But it's going to be a lot of like, can I trust you? Can I not trust you? Can I trust you? Can I not trust you? It's going to be a lot of that.
It sounds like a lot of fun, because, they're like adults, but like not really yet,
They're baby adults.
They're learning each other. They're learning themselves still. They've got so much to learn. It's already so spicy as it is. They're like, their love, their anger towards each other. I'm so happy with the way it's developed.
Yeah.
I think because, okay, so building it up, it's like she finally knows like where her signet is as a lightning wielder, and it comes out like whenever she has all these emotions, because Jack, stabbed Liam. Again, going back to our dear Liam. Like, how could he do that to Liam? But yeah, so she finds out she has like this lightning, and she ends up killing Jack, which rightfully so she should have, and he should have been dead a long time ago.
Thank God.
Finally. Oh, that's how we died.
I was like, plummet to your death, please. Like,
but I think what got me was like her shame and guilt and just inner conflict with death and her being a killing machine with this power. Like, she struggles with that so much, and it's so hard for her. And I think she even mentions it, like any other writer would be thrilled to have this power, but she struggles with it so much. And she's like, your power represents like who you are at your core. So what does this mean? Like, my nickname, I'm exactly that. I'm violence. And she has such a hard time with that. She wanted Brennan's power of mending, but no, she has lightning. And so I thought that was really good, like character development of like how much she struggles with just death and killing in general. And so, yeah.
Oh yeah. It's like the people that want power don't need power, and the people who don't really want power are the ones who really should have it, because they have just better intentions. And it's like they're, the dragons chose her because of all of those characteristics that she showed, and the, whenever they were at the threshing and things like that. And so I think that it's just one more like tick in the column of like why she's deserving of it, because she's not going to take anything that she does with that power lightly. And that's the type of person who should wield that type of power,
But let me ask y'all this, because I remember in the first read, I was surprised that it was lightning. I was not expecting a power like that, especially because of her character. And she talks about this at one point. It's like her sister Mira, she's protective, so she can extend wards. Zayden, he's secretive, so he does the shadows. Dane, he's super nosy and he wants to know everybody's business, so he's like the memory one. But I guess in my mind, I can't figure out why she got lightning and like what is it about her personality that lightning would make sense.
Like, it seems like everything fell into place so well, and almost like all of the behind the scenes people were just waiting for her to get her power. Like, they knew she was going to get this amazing strong power and that she was going to be, it almost feels like they think of her as one of the keys to helping the rebellion. Taryn knew all along, she's it, she's the ticket, so that's why I choose her. And they, you know, the other characters see it, but it's hard to see it even when we're reading her inner monologue, when she's constantly saying, you know, I'm not this, I'm not strong, I'm not like other writers. Personally, I agree with you. I can't see why she would have that specific power.
Do you think it has anything to do with her mom?
Because of she gets that gene of like the storm.
Mm-hmm. I mean, she's part of her mom. You know, her mom has that power. Maybe she's more like her mom than she thinks. Or I felt like her mom being able to control storms and her being able to control lightning was too close for comfort for it not to mean something. I just don't think we know why yet.
Yeah, and that's why I find it hard to really say, yes, 100% her mom is evil. Just because, I don't know, maybe she just gets that trait from her. But I don't know. I think it would be cool to get some sort of reveal that, yeah, mom is on our side. But it has to be a secret. She has to be this stone cold. So there's nobody's expecting that, you know, that Brennan's still alive. You know, I almost question that if Mira was even in on it too, if Mira knew that he was alive. And that's why she gave her the journal. Hey, Brennan gave me this. You know, you have to go through this the way I did. Yeah.
I think that Mira, I could see the twist of the mom being good before I could see Mira knowing.
Yeah.
I think that Mira is just loyal to a fault to her like position. The mom being in on it would be a twist that I could really see, like the mom using the power of the storms and Violet using her lightning builder, and like at some point that's going to clash.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel like they have to be on opposing sides.
Yeah.
But I like that connection that you made. It's like it's too close for comfort. Like they're too alike, those two powers, and so it must mean something.
I think that it means something, because I was like, they could have given the mom any sort of power, and why have two powers so similar? They're going to clash at some point, and she's going to have some sort of like identity crisis that she's just like her mom because of this.
Yeah. I think she already started, like she starts saying like, my mom is going to be so proud of this. Like I'm a killing machine.
Y'all, I will be eating my words if I'm sitting on this podcast and we end up loving the mom at the end.
Yeah. Cause honestly, I really thought we were going to learn a lot more about her mom. It makes sense that we haven't, because there's so much that happened, but I thought we'd get a little bit more time with her the last half of the book.
I did have a question for y'all. Do you think maybe her dad is still alive too?
Ooh.
Do you think the author would do that twice though? Like would
I don't know. I wouldn't expect them to, which makes me think maybe they will. I didn't expect Liam to die. I didn't expect Brennan to be alive. No, it just makes me think, like, because I know that they say like his dad's heart gave out when Brennan died, right? And like that's what killed him. And I'm like, but if Brennan didn't really die, maybe his dad is there too.
That is so valid. I like that.
Like, I wonder if their dad is really gone, or if he's like a scribe on their side to like actually document real history.
Yeah, I think the dad, I don't know if he'll come back, but I think his character is going to play more of a role in the story. Maybe not necessarily him, but like what he's done. Because I think even with like that awkward interaction with the mom, the king, and the colonel, I think sergeant, somebody, they mentioned like, oh, we were looking for your dad's research on, I forget what it was, the younglings, I think.
Yes.
And so it's like, and Violet was holding on to that secret. Like she knows where her dad's research is, but she wasn't about to share that with them. And so I think like that's going to play a part into it. But I don't know if he's going to come back.
Yeah, no, that's true. But as Violet, I would be towards Brennan, I would be resentful. I'd be like, you killed our dad because we thought you were dead.
For
like,
real.
Valid.
like I'm glad to see you, but did we have to do like the most dramatic thing possible and like ruin everybody's life? You know?
Oh
I mean,
gosh, yeah.
So is she gonna hate Brennan too? Oh my gosh.
I would
be determined.
I would.
Yeah.
I'd be like it's great to see you, but F you at the same time.
Yeah, I'm mad at you. I would be mad. I would have so many emotions. That betrayal right there to me is just so big.
Yeah.
So big. They're like, I know that she's gonna do a fantastic job of explaining it away. And, you know, I had to do this because A plus B equals this, right? Just to be safe, whatever, I'm sure. But still.
Yeah. The ultimate cliffhanger, I think we can agree.
It was the best cliffhanger. It was really like, and I mean, when I read this the first time, the second one wasn't out yet. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like, how am I going to possibly wait? And here we are a year later. I still haven't read the second one. So let's talk about them going on this mission or whatever. And then they end up, you know, going and being sent on like a suicide mission.
That, I mean, I expect better from Dane, but I still felt betrayed by him. I mean, what do we think of his behavior with his involvement in that betrayal? Because he had something to do with it, right?
Oh yeah,
with everybody knowing exactly where they were.
Yeah, I mean, Zayden even asks, like, did Dane touch you? And she was like, I don't remember what exactly she said, but she was like, but he didn't like touch me in that certain way, or like he wouldn't do that like without asking my permission. And he was like, he's probably been doing it to you this whole time. And it has, when you reread it and know what his power is, you do. Rebecca Yarros mentions several times with Dane that he caresses her face. He does this, he does that, but then never mentions what he finds out from that. But he touches her face almost every time that he has an interaction with her. And so, yeah, he definitely is a loser. I hate him.
Man, if we didn't hate Dane enough from the part one, we definitely hate him now even more.
I mean, he sent her thinking she was going to die. Like, he did. He let her go and tried to talk her out of it. But then he was like, all right, like,
I'm going to miss you. Doesn't he say that?
Yeah,
like,
I'm going to miss you.
Like, weren't you just like protecting her like throughout the whole first half? Like,
yeah,
you're just gonna say, all right, you're gonna try for like 2 seconds to hold her back, and then be like, okay, and what? I'm gonna miss you. Like,
yeah,
what?
Like, why not? Like, why not be honest with her right then and be like, let me tell you what's actually going on.
Yeah,
like,
I don't see his motivation in that whatsoever. Besides straight up, you know, mind control from his dad, telling him what to do. Because you guys were best friends, and this whole time you were trying to save her. Why? Because you probably knew what your dad was planning and what everybody was planning.
Didn't want her to get close to Zayden or any of the
Why weren't you a little bit more transparent in that? That, you know, if you really cared about her, but you didn't.
But then it goes back to like how much of a rule follower he is. Like, he's so loyal and I guess respects like the authority and like is going to do what he's been told to do, to the detriment of his relationship with Violet. And like we saw that in the first half, and it's going to continue. So I don't know. Somebody just needs to kill Dane.
I think his death is. I'm sorry, we're making predictions, but I think his death is going to be, you know, right up there with Jack's as far as like the satisfying feeling I will get when I read it. I want him dead.
I don't think he's going anywhere.
I don't think he's gonna die either. You know, this whole like authors kill off.
It's the same thing. Like, Jack was too bad. Like, there was no redeeming. There was no anything. Like, he had to die. That was his story. He had to die eventually, and he had to mess things up a little bit in the meantime. Dane is too complex of a character. He has too good of a signet, like, to be able to read memories and all of that stuff. He's too loyal to the other side. He's not going anywhere.
Right.
Honestly, I think that Dane is going to end up being like a good guy.
Like, you think he's going to switch sides?
He's going to be like forced to see it from like their point of view, and eventually like he will come around and like end up joining their side. Because I think we've invested too much time into this character. He's not He's not going to be absent from the story. And I think the next book is probably going to take a lot of place in like the rebellion camp, city, whatever. And like Dane has to be there at some point.
So he's going to start breaking some rules.
Yeah. I think he's going to have some character development for sure.
Oh yeah. He's going to, I do think, I agree. I think he's going to go through all the things. But I'm still going to be, I think I'm still going to be pretty satisfied when he dies. I don't know when it's going to be.
You're like, book 2, book 5. Whenever he dies, I'm going to be happy.
Yeah, ultimately it will end in his. No, I'm sorry. I don't mean to be so morbid, but I was so pissed. That made me so mad. You know, as if you didn't already make me mad, and I was really trying to help you and look for things to like about you, and just not helping yourself, Dane.
No.
Well, that would be a huge plot twist if, like, by book 2, I think there's a third book, right? By book 3, you're gonna end up loving Dane. It's like,
yeah,
you want to marry him.
Yeah.
Okay, I wanted to marry Dane in the last book.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not too far of a stretch for me, but yeah, no, I think he's gonna end up like turning to the good side. And I think like it's gonna be like a Xaden and Dane end up like kind of becoming friends type situation. You know what I mean?
That would be, that would be interesting.
Like
I'll keep Dane around for that. I'd be interested to see them try to become friends.
Yeah. Like that's how I envision it. But I don't know. Watching like the next book, he's gonna like die in chapter 2.
No, I think we'll get more time with him. It's gonna take more time for me to like him. So
yeah,
if she really wants his death to count, he's gonna need to really make up for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no,
with me at least.
Yeah, he's got a lot of making up to do.
Yes.
So what did y'all think about the last battle, like where Liam dies and they kind of get attacked or set up in a way?
Yeah, that felt like a movie. It felt like nonstop as soon as it began. You know, the way that she was describing all of the action, I was so surprised and so impressed by.
No, I agree. I feel like she writes action very well, and not every author can do that.
I was just gonna say, sometimes authors, like, sometimes they don't make sense, like the action scenes. I'm like, wait, they got hit where, how, and it just doesn't flow. But I felt like her descriptions were on point. Even talking more about like the scene, I think Rebecca Yarros did a good job with how she developed the villains, like the Venons.
Mm-hmm.
They were so scary, and I was just like imagining them in my mind, and I'm like, oh my gosh, these creatures are terrifying and ruthless. Like, how in the world are they going to defeat them? Because they were so powerful and just evil, but she did such a good job of creating them that they were terrifying.
Did Dane and his parents and Violet's mom, all that, they knew that they were like sending this group pretty much to die, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And her mom had a weapon that could kill whatever.
The venom. Mm-hmm.
But was it to kill one or just to protect her in case one turned on her? Because are they on their side? Like, are the Venom and the whatever, the beasts, are they on the mom's side? The kingdom side?
Yeah, I guess my interpretation of it was that they are so threatening that they can't control them, but they also don't have a problem letting people die for it.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't want to appear weak and like they don't have the situation under control. That's why they're not reporting it, but they're also a threat to the kingdom, maybe.
Yeah.
So I guess the question is, are there 3 players in this game, or is it just 2? Like the kingdom, the king and the mom, and the rebellion and the griffins, and the Venom is like, are they all, or is the Venom on the kingdom side?
Right.
Are the Venom the ones on the griffins? They're riding the griffins or not?
No, the griffins they have the flyers that ride the griffins, and they're the ones who met up with, and that's who like Xaden was like supplying things to.
Yes,
because they're good. They're actually good.
Cities.
They're trying to protect the people, And they were so like courageous. It's like, we know that we can't beat these venom, but we're going to fight until our death. And
Yes.
like that's so selfless and courageous that it just like completely changes your view. Because throughout the book, it's like we hate griffins. Griffins are the enemy to us, but it's like, whoa, it's so starkly different from reality.
Yeah.
I guess that's all we want to say about the fight.
Yeah.
About the fight, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. Liam dies. It's awful. Violet gets hurt. Terrible. Okay, let's talk about the fun part. Let's talk about their chemistry.
I want to make a comment about their chemistry and like just like how their relationship developed and everything. And I just want to say, which I think we already established, but the second part re-established it for me, that Xaden is a toxic man.
Hey, hot take. Hot take, everybody.
Because of course, like the spice starts off with like the big kiss, and the snowstorm, and like them being under the influence of their dragon's lust, which
love that sprinkle of the way that dragons and their riders work. I loved that.
Yes, it's so perfect, and it's also awkward. I'm like, wow, my dragons are getting it on right now. But yeah, so it's like under the influence of their dragon's lust, and it's like they have like this kiss finally, and it was perfect and it was amazing, and they were both into it. Xaden was into it, Violet's into it, very passionate and loving and hot. It was so good. But then right after that, Xaden is like MIA, like he just
like 4 months later.
This man just ignores Violet, disappears, says nothing to her, and just like leaves her hanging after he was so into the kiss and like basically led her on and wanted more to happen. But anyway, so that's toxic example number probably 15 at this point, but most obvious one. Like, yes. And so that's kind of where the toxicity started for me. It keeps going, but I'll let y'all comment.
Yeah. No, I know. I rereading it, I was like, I did not remember that the first read. The first read, I just remember like, okay, they kiss, like here we go. Like now they're in a relationship. Like they are betrothed at that point.
It makes you wonder, is he doing that for the drama? What really is it? Oh, I'm not good enough for you? What is his argument for not? Why aren't you accepting or acknowledging your feelings for her?
What is his reason?
I think they talk about it a little bit, kind of whenever Violet is, telling him like, hey, like you can't be half in, half out. Like you can't lead me on and kiss me and have all this passion and then tell me don't fall for me. Like what's going on? I think he says something like, I'm not good for you. I'm not sweet. I'm not this person that you think I am. So I think at the core, it's very much like, I'm not good enough. I'm a terrible person, or I'm horrible. And you don't want to be with me because of that.
It's just so stupid. Like all I kept thinking the whole time was like, your dragons are mated. You are going to be together for forever. And you think that you can keep this up for forever? Like, what do you expect her to do? Like go find somebody else? Like, no, like that's not like, you have one choice here and it's going to make you happy. Like, why in the world are you fighting it?
Here's another toxic moment. Let me bring this up. They're growing into adults. They're learning each other. They're learning themselves. They're learning their love. I'm so here for it. So the parapet kissing scene.
Xaden is just brooding, rightfully so, okay? He's got a lot to brood about. He's like, leave me alone. I must have my solace. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be here. Go away.
Go away, but don't leave. Oh my God, I kind of forgot about that scene.
How could you forget? Oh,
I must have blocked it from my mind.
So it's just very hot and cold. It's like at one point, like you love her, and you're passionate, and you're teasing, and like the sexual innuendos too. And then the next minute is like, no, we can't do this. You can't love me. You can't fall for me. No. And it's just like so much. Even I think another beautiful part, which is, I think, makes the story so good, is like the whole mind talking. I thought that was so, I loved anytime that they would like mind talk to each other. But it was so like flirty and so fun and like teasing each other. And it was perfect. It was like, I love the banter and their chemistry and that communication. It was perfect.
Yes. Yeah. I think that it's like, I remember like in the first part of the book too, I think I mentioned it last podcast also, like Violet's just like her ability to banter and how she can have like a really flirty kind of like sexual banter about her. And I just think it breaks down his just like stone, like she can make him get a little flustered. And like the scene where like she's talking to him and she mentions, what does she say or whatever, he like drops his utensil or his fork or something, and I was like, oh, that's like a perfect scene, like to see like that facade drop a little bit, like she has that that capability to do that to him. I just thought it was such a nice touch.
But he also drops like his something during battle brief. Maybe I think she asked him what's his favorite food, and he says chocolate cake. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Zayden loves chocolate cake. Like, what?
I think that was around the same time that he was kind of sneaking off and building her a saddle for
the daggers that were so beautiful and like perfectly shaped for her hand. It's all of these like gestures, and then it's hot and cold. So toxic. That man is toxic.
Yes.
Can we also talk about the moment where she's like, I don't know, he gets mad at her where he's like, no, you love me. You love me. He said this to her.
Oh, when she finds out that he's been lying to her.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That was such a dramatic moment.
So she's like, I don't even know you. He's like, yes, you love me. And I remember that scene, and I remember being like, that's a little like non-Zayden like, like if like dang, like he went from like complete like to
yes,
grovel.
But that's like what he genuinely feels. Like he loves her, but he doesn't want to admit it to himself, to her, to anybody. But whenever like push comes to shove and like she's actually like super hurt by him and super betrayed by him and like hates him, then he's groveling, and then he's like, no, you love me.
There's a part, it has nothing to do with Zayden or Violet, during like before they go into like that battle, and Zayden's asking everybody like, I'm not asking you to fight. Like if you don't, like there's no way we're gonna come out of this. Like if you don't want to fight, we don't have to fight. And they're all like, like, no, I'm gonna fight with you. I'm gonna stay with you. Blah blah blah. And Violet was like, asking like Tarn, like, are we? And he was like, we will feast on their bones, silver one. And then like her next, like the next line is like, that's graphic, but okay, point made. And it's like her like just joking, and like the times when she shouldn't be joking, or like just her banter, even inner monologue banter is just so good that it like breaks up those really serious moments with like where I kind of find myself smile, and it like, I don't know, it takes a little bit of the pressure off of like those really heavy like descriptive parts of books whenever they can sprinkle that in.
There was another moment really similar to that, Becca, where they're first fitting Taryn with the saddle and showing Violet, and then Zayden was like, well, I don't know, something like, I couldn't test it out because Taryn wouldn't let me. And then like Taryn says, like, you can ride me whenever. Oh, I wish I.
Yes.
You can ride me
when I'm in the ground or something like that.
You can ride me when something, and that's when she says something similar to that too. It was like, well, that's really graphic or something.
Yeah.
He said, this is Taryn's quote, but he said, you can ride me when the flesh falls off my bones, wing leader.
There's the part where she's like, Violet's talking to Liam, and she's like, Liam, I adore you, right? He's like, well, that's nice. And then she's like, go away. And it's just like Liam being like, well, that's nice. His little like trinkets that he would carve.
Oh, yeah.
Like her dragon.
No, stop.
So precious.
My Liam.
That'd be like the perfect way to bring him back. Like if he wasn't really gone. I just keep trying to bring all these people back from the dead. But like, if she like walked into like a tent and saw like the little carvings or something, and then there he was. Wouldn't that be great? I don't know how they could make that happen, but
I think what made me appreciate Violet so much more is also like whenever she experienced like this passion from Xaden and like their connection and their chemistry, like she's not going to settle for him being pulling back and like saying, don't fall for me. It's like she says like, I don't want a relationship like this. Like I want more. And I know you feel it. So until you admit it, like then we can, continue with our passion and have sex and blah, 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 blah. And so this is like their banter afterwards, like they're in the lunchroom and they're mind talking to each other. Like he's sitting over there with the wing leaders and she's sitting with her group of friends. And she's saying, I tap my fork on my plate in pure frustration. You know what? Fuck this. Two can play at this game. If you just, and then quote, she tells Xaden, if you just man up and admit there's something between us, I would strip down to my skin so you could see every single inch of me. And once I had you begging, I'd drop down to my knees, undo those flight leathers you're wearing, and wrap my lips around. And then Xaden chokes.
Oh, yeah, he chokes. That's right.
He's like, cool.
And so I think that's what the quote.
Yes, that's exactly what I was talking about. Yeah.
But
it's like my favorite part of the whole book.
Don't think we could forget. We have to mention that didn't Liam kind of like notice that he got choked up and he looked at him and then he looked at Violet. Yes. Liam looked at both of them and he kind of knew what was going on.
Oh my God. Oh, Liam. How did y'all feel about the actual scenes? Because there were a couple, right? There was like the first one where they broke all of her furniture. And then there was the second one after she talked him literally off the ledge, right? Like, and then they came back and they were all heated and whatever. And then that's whenever they got pulled to go to their suicide mission, right?
I think Rebecca Yarros really delivered. If you remember last episode, we were saying that the spice level at that point was not very high yet.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think one thing I wanted to point out about the smut, especially the first scene, is like how Rebecca Yarros does such a good job. And I think this is so important in like the type of smut is like to make sure that the consent is there. And like the consent was definitely 150% there. And it comes up whenever Xaden is like checking in with Violet, like, hey, are you sure you want this? Hey, are you sure you want this? Like, wait. Like once they took it to like the next level, he's like checking in with her and she is so frustrated with him. And she's like, please just fuck me.
Yeah, she's like, can we please get on with this? Like, I've already consented. Like, yes to everything that you want to do. Just a blanket yes. Okay. Like, let's go. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like the definitely like the consent piece was there. And also like the whole fertility suppressant, just like obviously noting that.
I hate when books do that. Oh my God.
It did seem a little bit, I was like, wow, why does it feel like she has to mention that?
I hate that so much.
Didn't he say, he's like, yeah, me too, or something like that?
Yes. Same.
Yeah, I was like, okay. Good.
Samesies. Like, let's go. I'm like, oh my God, I hate that. Like, that's something that can be mentioned afterwards, like in like some sort of conversation,
or before I think,
or like just it could have been like a conversation with her and like her bestie. It could have been like, like, oh, y'all did or whatever. Like, wait, you took the whatever, right? And I'd be like, oh yeah, it could be like a passing, fleeting. Like if she feels like she has to put that in there, don't break up the moment and like lose steam to tell me that you took a suppressant. I mean, like in real life, you have to ask those questions. I'm reading this to get out of real life. You know what I mean? Like, we don't need that. Like, I hate when authors do that.
It's definitely the responsible thing to do, but it does kind of take you out of the moment, and you notice it as a reader. Again, it's all very important information and very important things and conversations to have. But when you're
have it later.
Yes. Even later, I still might be a little bit like, why are we talking about this?
I would think before, kind of what you were saying, like if she just has a conversation with, like, if she had that conversation with Ryan on and like, like, oh yeah, like we all need, or everybody's on it or something like that.
Yeah.
It's misunderstood or something like that.
Yeah. Or even with her sister. You remember when her sister was like, get yours when you can.
Yeah.
But always be protected, of course, or something like that. Just like, okay, well, she's just being a big sister.
Because I also feel like, and like I know Angela, like you like love like the consent, right? Like you love like that, like it being all throughout or whatever. I'm like, say it once and then don't say it again. Like to me, it like breaks like I don't know. And it, not that Zayden seems like the type of guy who would do something without consent, but it also like wasn't really in his character, I feel like. Like, and that's like I agree getting consent, of course, but it's also like, I feel like once Zayden has like that, like he would have just taken control. I don't know. And
gotten consent once and like gone.
Yeah.
Like that's like more his character. Like the intent to match like the intensity and like how much control he takes like in bed. And so it just keeps going. It's like I'm gonna read like a couple of things. It's like he says, I'm trying to do the honorable thing and not take advantage of you after you've had a shit day. It's like tell me to stop. And then she's like, don't stop. I'll die if he does. He says, if I get my hands on you, really honestly get my hands on you, I don't know if I'll be able to stop. And she says, stop being so fucking honorable and fuck me, Zayden. Like, keeps going.
Her exact words.
Yes, exactly.
Stop it.
And I mean, like, I just feel like, I don't know. I feel like he would have been the type, like he should have had like a line where it's like, I'm going to go until you tell me to stop. If you don't tell me to stop, I'm not going to stop. And like, just leave it at that and let her like tell you to stop when she's done whatever. Quit asking. And like, just, it was too sweet for me. Like, this is like the first time y'all still kind of don't like each other. Like, show a little bit of that instead of it like, I don't know. And then like to go like right afterwards and be like, we can't, like, whatever. It's like, okay, well, if you don't care about me that much, then why were you so like honorable? Like have it line up, like, I don't know.
I agree with you, Becca. And I think it was very, maybe, I don't know if symbolic is the right word, or I don't know, like the fact that they literally had sex everywhere else but the bed. Like, I think that was telling. And he was like in control, so he was like moving her around, and so it was so telling. And maybe it speaks to like his lack of commitment at that point, or his toxicity. Like it's too official or too relationshipy or commitment whenever you do it on the bed. So it's like everywhere else, on the desk, on the wall, on the armoire, on the floor. I'm like, literally the bed is right there.
Yes. I actually, even though the next scene wasn't as, I think it wasn't supposed to be as like passionate in terms of just like physical, like the next time they had like more of a emotional understanding, it was more like, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to be together. We're going to whatever. So it was sweeter and there was more dialogue, more talking, but I like that scene so much more. Like, I don't know, there was something just so sweet and Zayden was so much more vulnerable. And it was just such a like better scene to me. I don't know, those walls like finally got taken down by Zayden at that point. So
I remember, he was like, gosh, your hair is just so gorgeous.
Yes.
And he is so sweet at his core. And I think at one point she even calls him sweet. And he's like, I'm anything but sweet. Like, oh my gosh.
The drama.
Like, of course you would say that. Of course.
So, yeah.
What is it where she says, I love you or something like in the midst? And then I don't think he says it back. And then I had a question. Does he ever say it after that?
Let's read it. Let's discuss, because that's the scene I wanted to talk about. And he says, you love me. Loved, I correct him, sidestepping so I can get some fucking space and then taking it. And he shouts, love, he shouts, stopping me in my tracks and earning us a glance from every rider within hearing distance. You loved me. And so at that point, it's pretty clear whether he says it or not. At that point, the fact that he's shouting and gets everybody's attention and isn't afraid to talk about it in front of other people.
Yeah.
He's kind of like saying, I'm here. This is it.
This is real. This is real what we have. Like, you love me. But he doesn't say it. He's too scared. He's too toxic to admit it and say that I love you too.
Yeah. Well, and I think that answers the question too that I had about so the kingdom has wards up to keep those creatures out of the kingdom. So they know that they're happening, that they're a threat, but they have wards to protect themselves. And Zayden's dad was part of the rebellion against the king because they knew that they were there and they were trying to help the people. That's what the Flyers were doing, the Griffins were doing, the rebellion was doing. And so he knew about all of that. So it makes sense that I guess then like the mythical creatures aren't siding with the kingdom. The kingdom just knows about them and is protecting and not alerting anybody and letting these outskirts just be overran and suffer.
So the threat is coming. And they're continuing to try to hide it. They really want to keep it a secret from everybody. And I don't see him saying I love you back. So
that's what I was like. That's like a toxic thing too. Like, she says it, he doesn't say it back, and then whenever she finally gets mad at him and is like whatever, he's like, no, you love me. But like, okay, but do you love me?
Well, there's this part right before, like, I think the second smut scene, whenever she goes to him on the parapet and he's like brooding, and then she walks him all the way to his room, and then he starts saying like, I don't deserve you. His arm curls around my hips and he tucks me closer, but I'm going to keep you all the same. Good. I lean in and brush my lips over his because I think I'm in love with you. My heart beats erratically and panic claws up my ribcage. I shouldn't have said it. And he says, you think or you know? And she tells herself, be brave. Even if he doesn't feel the same, at least I will have spoken my truth. I know I'm so wildly in love with you that I can't imagine what my life would even look like without you in it. And I probably shouldn't have said that, but if we're doing this and we're starting from a place of complete honesty. And he doesn't say it back. He like starts kissing her, but he does say, so maybe this is when he stops being so toxic, and he says, I fucking need you, Violet, right now. And I don't need anyone, so I'm not quite sure how to handle this feeling, but I'm giving it my best. And if you don't want this tonight, that's fine, but I'm going to need you to walk out that door right now, because if you don't, I'm going to have you naked on your back in the next 2 minutes.
Okay, no. That is so toxic. That is such a toxic thing to say. I need you.
Like, okay, I love you. But then she says it again in that same scene. She says it. She says, I love you.
And he never says it back.
He even says in there, like, and I said, I love you, or I love you. I said, it doesn't even matter if he doesn't say it back or something. And then he still doesn't say it.
And he just says, I fucking need you. I fucking need you naked. Like, he needs her, like, just like physically and like sexually.
Yes. Like, why has he not said it?
I think, y'all, again, I know we're trying to find it, but does he say it still to himself when he's thinking, it's his point of view? Is that when he says it? He says, like, of course I love her. Now she's almost on the brink of death, and I didn't tell her, and she could die any moment.
He says, like, I fucking fell. We hadn't even kissed and I fell. But he still doesn't say it. I just fell. What do you mean you fell? He goes through like all the things that he's noticed about her. It's like, or maybe it was when she threw her knives at Barlow, or when jealousy ate me alive, seeing Ado's kiss the mouth I dream about countless times. But he doesn't say it.
Clearly, we can't remember exactly when he said it or if he said it. So that, that's pretty telling. It's pretty telling about how he is with his feelings and sharing them and his toxicity. Straight up, man. I need you like air. I can't breathe without you.
Before she gets like her memories back there for like those first few seconds. And he says, she still wants me. The revelation makes my heart fucking sore. And it's sore, like it's like in italics. It's like sore. It's like, that's just, I don't know. That seems funny.
He's so giddy.
Oh my God. I can't believe he hasn't said it.
So maybe like seeing his POV, like it's actually like a little bit more of like insight into his true feelings and what he feels. But he can't even admit it to himself. He can't say the word love to himself.
It kind of makes you wonder,
why is he the way that he is? Why can't he say, I love you? So it goes back to everything that he's been through, the people that he's lost.
So I wonder if that is something and the way that he is with relationships now, just because he's been burned a lot.
I mean, I guess he can't commit to something because he doesn't know if it's going to last. Like, he's lost his parents, so kind of like that loss of...
And he doesn't know if the relationship will survive once she finds out what he's been doing, too. You know, at that point, you know, she still doesn't know about him being a part of this, like, rebellion.
Or even at the end, like, Brennan being alive and, like, this whole city, like, they've been working to rebuild. So the last little prediction I want to make is that, you know, this city that he's building, which is technically his city. So I think maybe not in the second book, but I think there's going to be like a third, maybe more. But eventually he's going to become king of like this. This is going to be like the kingdom and he's going to be king. And then she's obviously going to be with him and they're going to be rulers together.
Yes. Rulers of the underworld.
Rulers of the rebellion. You guys, if that is such an intimate moment for her to say, I love you during sex and then him not to say it back. That I think would crush me.
But like, and for her to say it, like knowing he may not say it.
Yeah.
The way I would like hop off so fast.
Excuse me, I just said something. All right, yeah. Peace.
And we're done here.
No, thank you. Like, I've seen all I need to see.
Yeah.
Like, goodbye. Like,
actual turn off.
Oh yeah. Like, you would not find me like continuing. We are on 2 different pages. So
yeah.
Goodbye.
Yeah, there's no way.
Yeah.
My pride would never.
I mean,
that's what a part of me is like, have some self-respect.
Yes.
Girlfriend.
That's what, yeah.
She does at some point because she's kind of like goes back and forth with him of like, we're not doing this until you can admit that this feel this. But then it switches, I guess, whenever
it does.
When she sees him brooding, I guess that's what it did for her.
Yeah. So next book, right?
Next book. Next episode will be the start of the Iron Flame.
And I think we just wrap up with our signature question. So finally, after reading this entire book, so what would you do? Would you carry it? Would you keep it in your bag? Or would you throw it away?
Carry it.
Carry it. Hands down, carry it. So excited to carry the Iron Flame next.
I would carry it as well. It's been a fun even as a reread. I've actually, and I haven't shared this with you all, and I kept quiet throughout like this whole episode, is like I've actually read the sequel, so this will be a reread for me of the sequel. And so, yeah, I'm excited to hear.
Okay, so you don't have to tell me which ones, but are any of our predictions right?
Oh my gosh, I can't even remember all the predictions. Some of them are wrong, I can tell you that.
She's like, well, I can tell you for a fact that you were wrong.
I'm looking forward to rereading it as well, because I don't know, I think I read it before I had a child, and my brain is mushy after having a child, so yeah, like I read it for the first time, but yeah, I'm excited.
So we may or may not be able to count on Dane's death next book. Basically, my prediction might be right, might be wrong.
Does he turn good? Was that a good prediction?
I don't know.
We'll have to wait and see. Is the mom evil or is she not?
Oh, yeah, is the mom evil? Do you know the answer to that?
I don't know.
I'm not paying attention.
No,
I want to learn all the
spoilers. I'm like looking so hard at you right now.
But yes, so I guess this wraps up our episode on the second part of Fourth Wing.
Yes. Thank you, book carriers. We're so happy that you are a part of our little family. And we can't wait for the next episode. And that's a wrap for today's episode of the Book Carriers.
We hope you enjoyed diving into Fourth Wing with us as much as we did.
Thank you so much for joining us on this literary adventure. Your support means the world to us.
If you love today's episode, don't forget to follow us on social media for updates, behind-the-scene fun, and more bookish content. You can find all of our handles in our About Me.
And if you're feeling generous, please rate our podcast 5 stars. Your reviews help other book carriers find us and join our growing community.
Remember, we'll be back with a new episode every week, catching up on our latest read.
Until next time, keep reading and living those amazing stories.
Bye for now.
Happy reading.
I've been called to the pages, and it doesn't take long at all to bring me back again, bring me back again, ooh, bring me back again, bring me back again.
I have absolutely no intention of falling for you, Soaring Gale. And he's just so toxic.